Dear learners, welcome back to this segment on theoretical perspectives and women entrepreneurship. By now, we have learned that women entrepreneurship is embedded in the specific ecosystem that consists of both the constraints and opportunities. So, we do have the enablers as well as the facilitators shaping the distinctiveness of women entrepreneurship. Here, the underlying notion is this, that the entrepreneurial activities do not occur in vacuum. Therefore, we need to understand the background assumptions, norms, and positioning shaping the context of entrepreneurship. Within the patriarchal context, women entrepreneurs face additional set of challenges due to their gender, different socialization path and processes, dominant norms, and social roles. Thus, women entrepreneurship takes on different forms in different cultures. So, before specifically coming to theoretical perspectives and the case of women entrepreneurship, we do need to understand the relevance of theory. Why do we need to know about these theoretical perspectives? So, and what does theory do, or what do theories do? So, and in different disciplines, we have different theories, we have the theoretical perspectives. So, when we try to understand the role of theories, we need to remember that with the help of these theories, we get to know the world, the social world in which we live in. Through these theories, we make sense of the social world, and we also know about the knowledge production. We observe the different kinds of frameworks that we have. We learn this ability to identify the issues, and then we also learn that how to sort out, how to frame the observations, and how to come to resolution of different social problems. So obviously, the theories possess a lot of possibilities in making us know the world in which we live in. And when we come to different disciplinary frameworks, what do we see that, for instance, we have sociological theories, we have legal theories, we have political theories. And here, what do we want to know? We are actually trying to know the theoretical perspectives that we have on women entrepreneurship. So if we and then this will be we'll try to understand this through three broad frameworks, with the help of three broad spectrum. So the first one is the integrated views on entrepreneurship. And here we see that Amanda Breckman-Elam, in her book Gender in Entrepreneurship, a multi-level theory and analysis, she provides integrated views of entrepreneurship, focusing specifically on the intersection of individuals and context, which is broadly categorized in three main ideas. So the first one is the cultural view of entrepreneurship. When it comes to the cultural view of entrepreneurship, this view sees entrepreneurship as as centered around, as revolving around the conducive cultural climate. Conducive cultural climate, we know this well, and we had discussed it as enabling, as supportive environment, entrepreneurial environment. So this conducive cultural climate where entrepreneurship is viewed as a legitimate activity, where people deliberately, willingly opt for entrepreneurship, and it is being promoted by the systemic forces, by the structure itself. So what do we get to know? That Brigitte Berger, in her 1991 volume, The Culture of Entrepreneurship, she describes culture as the conductor and individuals as the catalyst, emphasizing the point that entrepreneurship isn't about economic patterns and activities only. Rather, cultural forces do influence the practice of entrepreneurship. The second perspective, which talks about the intersection of individuals and opportunities. It began with Shane and Venkatraman's definition of entrepreneurship as nexus between enterprising individuals and the opportunities, the lucrative, attractive opportunities. So this framework centered on discovery, evaluation, and exploitation, DEE, of opportunities. So what do we need to do? First, we need to discover. We need to, as aspiring entrepreneurs, we need to identify the possible, those spaces, the opportunities that are available in the ecosystem, in the context, and then we need to evaluate. It's not only the discovery, it's not only the identification, it is also about evaluating, analyzing the prospects, analyzing this idea that which one do I wish to go for. If there are a number of opportunities, so which one do I want to opt for, or do I want to see which ones as the possible prospect where one can proceed. And then obviously this idea of making use of those opportunities. So it is DEE of opportunities, the framework. And while highlighting the relevance of the opportunities, the authors here acknowledge the fact that information might be asymmetrically distributed among the members of a given population. And we see this, we witness this asymmetrical distribution of not only information but also a number of other resources also within a particular group, within a particular community, or within a particular family also. And this asymmetrical, unequal distribution is based on a number of parameters of identity formation. So they acknowledge this fact, but however, what do we see? That they completely ignore gender and other characteristics that influence the distribution of this information and other resources which are important for business startups and success. So to improve the framework, what one finds out that Baker and others, 2005, proposed a comparative discovery, evaluation, and exploitation framework. So here one finds that another factor gets included, and this is the importance of embeddedness, in which social positions determine the availability and perceptions of opportunities. Because it's how do we see, how do we perceive? So opportunities being available, and then how are these opportunities being perceived, and how are these opportunities being made use of? So it all becomes very important. Only availability of opportunities doesn't become enough, doesn't suffice the purpose. So one needs to know how to make use of those opportunities, and then tapping on those, identifying, deciding, making quick decisions and rational decisions, and then whatever decisions we have made, uh, acting on those decisions, sticking to those decisions, relying on the whatever path one has decided for. So the approach was further enriched through an exploration of the external and internal factors that affect why some people discover and then make use of the opportunities while others don't do so. So what are those internal and external factors playing a role into this into this pattern, into this behavioral pattern, that what enables some people that they discover the opportunities, they identify, and then they make use of it. And then obviously behind this behavioral pattern we have a series of internal and external factors which we have discussed and which you must be familiar with. So this model highlighted the importance of external factors such as social capital and cultural environment, and internal factors such as cognition for understanding the patterns of entrepreneurship across different contexts, across different types of individuals. So we see that what happens here, that the embeddedness, this notion of embeddedness gets extended to include both cultural and social forces, that is ideas and relationships. Social relationships also play a crucial role. So we find that this entire framework, it implicitly recognizes the connection between culture and cognition. So the internal factors, and there are a number of internal factors, and then obviously the revolving, the surrounding context. So then we have this third perspective on entrepreneurship, and this perspective emerges from the research, a number of research that is being conducted on women and entrepreneurship. And it is found that entrepreneurship is generally characterized as a male activity, predominantly characterized as a male activity. And recently, in the recent years, we have seen that a number of researches being conducted on women and entrepreneurship. So scholars assert on the significance of integrative view of gender and entrepreneurship, which talks about a holistic approach that combines diverse perspectives. Women, it is seen that they usually hold a different view of entrepreneurship, as they conceive of their business as cooperative networks of relationships rather than primarily seen as a separate profit-making entity. As pointed out by Brush in 1992, and we see that Bird and Brush 2002, they have proposed a gendered perspective on organizational creation, where gendered worldviews emerge from gendered patterns of social and cultural structures, including social networks and social values, and this play a central role in the process of business creation. So this, the second broad framework, it talks about theoretical framework. It talks about the macro and micro perspectives on venture creation. So what do we observe? That the research and empirical evidence highlight the fact that women entrepreneurship emerged as a distinct phenomena, and this distinctiveness is not limited to one particular country or context. Rather, it goes on the same lines distinctiveness remains as a core component, we can say as a key feature of women entrepreneurship in different countries. So understanding the context of women entrepreneurship enables capturing its essence and providing space to its uniqueness, where both the macro level and micro level perspectives on women entrepreneurship have the potential to inform future research and policy decisions. We find this close connection between research and policy decisions because the two are closely connected and do inform each other, and especially research informing policy decisions and then policy decisions having an impact, and have the possibility to bring changes in the way women entrepreneurship, specifically because we are here discussing the case of women entrepreneurship. So the policy decisions informing and shaping and reconstructing the entrepreneurial journeys of women who are placed differently. So research and policy framework can further mitigate through these decisions, through these the policy framework. What do we see? That there lies this scope, this possibility of further mitigating existing gender gap by either eliminating, or if not completely eliminating, then we can say that reducing the gender stereotypes, countering those stereotypes rather, and other generalizations about women entrepreneurs. Macro level analysis includes, if we take the case of macro level analysis, so it includes broad contextual, cultural and external factors. Macro effects on women entrepreneurship are manifested in social, economic, political, cultural, legal, regulatory and policy frameworks. Cultural norms and values regarding the behaviors that are, the specific behavior required for starting a business, and we do have a number of such traits, such behavioral patterns such as risk-taking, hard work, financial independence, autonomy, leadership skills, expanding networks, etc. And it all have a significant effect on women's propensity, for entrepreneurial ventures, their scope, their possibility for entrepreneurial ventures. So cultural context, obviously, in which women operate and in which women develop these traits. And when we say women, then obviously we need to acknowledge the fact, as discussed earlier also, that these women they come from different social positionings, and obviously their competencies, personal competencies, socialization processes, skills that they have learned are also different. So we do find differences there, we do find variations. So cultural contexts do vary and do play a crucial role in determining women's entrepreneurial journeys. In case, and we do have those specific case studies where we have where women have just fought against all those cultural barriers. So we have those trailblazers, we do have those success stories which need to be highlighted, the case studies which are inspirational in nature, and amidst all kind of challenges, those women entrepreneurs have come out as as someone who possesses the ability to inspire the next generation. So in case of norms and values which are unfavorable to women entrepreneurship, those norms need to be questioned, challenged, and dismantled. And for that we need a kind of attitudinal change. It is not cannot be done with individual effort. Here one requires the systemic support, when one requires all the stakeholders in the ecosystem working together, working in solidarity for this particular cause. So collective action is required here, and working in solidarity is something which is which is in demand, which is expected. Instead of and thus we see that if it all is availed, then obviously entrepreneurship uh, has the possibility of being seen not as necessity driven, or not as an alternative to unemployment, or not as something which is being linked to survival. Rather, the macro micro dialogue must seek to ensure that entrepreneurship is considered, is taken up by people and by women specifically as opportunity driven, as is the case in some parts of the world. Coming to the next thing, which is the micro level analysis. So through micro level analysis, one gets to know the in-depth analysis of why do women start and how do they manage. Because starting the venture is one thing, and then managing it at different stages. So how do they manage their entrepreneurial journeys? A large number of researchers on women entrepreneurship focus on motivations, aspirations, and attitudes toward entrepreneurship, which means focusing on why do some women choose entrepreneurship and others don't do so. So women's attitudes and behaviors lead to unique entrepreneurial processes filled with certain constraints as well. We need to acknowledge the fact, and we cannot just ignore this particular fact, such as we have this idea where we have this pattern where women entrepreneurs are more reluctant to take risks or embarking on less skeptical journeys, as highlighted by the existing research, or their choice of sector in which to start their business also gets influenced by certain constraints and parameters. So one finds that social roles, norms, and expectations are somewhere tied to women's entrepreneurial behavior. Research highlights that women usually shy away from non-traditional areas that are associated with high risk, demand for more capital, and high technical expertise. However, we do have success stories. We do have those leading women entrepreneurs in unconventional areas, in unconventional sectors and fields also. And their journeys become really important, because through their stories we get to know what were their challenges and how did they overcome those challenges, and what about their enabling environment, and how did the environment, the ecosystem enable them to come out as as shining stars, as someone who can inspire others. So it seems that men and women are subjected to, and it not, we find this, we can say that in generally, usually, however, we cannot generalize, and we do have those alternatives, those initiatives where this idea is now being challenged, and a number of awareness programs are also there. But even then we find that men and women are subjected to different socialization processes and experiences, which gets reflected in their entrepreneurial behavior. And that is why we government has promoted this idea, and not only state, non-state actors have also coming up with such initiatives where we try to inculcate the entrepreneurial acumen among people right from the beginning, right from their childhood. So in schools also we have such programs being initiated to encourage or to inculcate rather the entrepreneurial tendencies among the young children. So the last part that we, when it comes to the theoretical framework, the last broad idea that we are going to take up today, it is the 3 cycles for women entrepreneurs. And we see that women entrepreneurs continually need to make use of the resources, and they also need to work on their abilities to use these 3 cycles, as highlighted by Daphna Karev in her work. The title of the work is Female Entrepreneurs and New Venture Creation, an International Overview. So while coming to the 3 cycles, the first cycle is the entrepreneur cycle, which refers to entrepreneurs knowing themselves in detail, having the ability to identify their motivations, drivers, understanding their resources and strengths, and the possible obstacles. So, this is something which is really important, that to what extent do I know myself, my abilities, my resources, etc. Second cycle is the entrepreneurial business cycle. So the first one focused on the personality, the self. Second one is focusing on the business cycle, which means that women entrepreneurs need to do proper analysis of the business concept, processes, structures, resources, and capabilities. So when we talk about capabilities, which is a crucial part of the first phase, first cycle. So what do we see? That Martha Nussbaum and Amartya Sen and Jean Drey and several others, they have contributed and they have come up with the concept known as capability theory and or capability approach. So capability, here we see that it is something, the development of capabilities emphasizes on attaining a life that people value, having this freedom to get to attain a life which people value, and which people must know the reason why. If I value a particular kind of life, so I must have the reason why do I value it, and then how to attain that life. Then obviously, so what do we see? That the scholars have come up with the term functionings, and functionings is a set of beings and doings. So the existence of individuals depend upon what do they do, how much efforts do they put in different things, different ideas. So, and it all is required for human development, which is broadly known as enlarging people's choices and enhancing their capabilities. So we see that capabilities are connected to human development, and capabilities are seen as something crucial to human existence. And for entrepreneurship also, we find that evolving one's capabilities and identifying the capabilities is something crucial for the development of entrepreneurial venture. So third cycle is the environment cycle, where women entrepreneurs need to develop familiarity with their specific ecosystem. Continuously learning about and exploring the ecosystem is required, where women what do we see? That there exists this public-private dichotomy, and women usually they are associated with the domestic spaces, private spaces, and where we find that they're I'm not saying that it is the uh, usual pattern, but yes, this is there as one of the dominant ideas, dominant patterns, but not the only one. We do have those initiatives where this idea is being challenged. But yes, women are usually associated with the private sphere where they are not familiar with the ecosystem. They do have certain constraints, such as, you know, their limited access to resources or their limited access to mobility, which affects on their networking, which affects on their the kind of information that they possess on, you know, about certain things. So if we take the case of entrepreneurial success, then the three cycles become really important, because, you know, knowing oneself is the first step. Then the second one is entrepreneurial business cycles cycle, that women entrepreneurs need to do the proper analysis of the business concept, the processes, the resources, the structures, etc. And third, the kind of the ecosystem that, you know, that can facilitate the journey, or there obviously might be certain obstacles. So what are those obstacles that I might encounter? So I need to be well aware of the ecosystem, and merging these three cycles is essential for women entrepreneurs to develop effective entrepreneurial strategies, and, you know, for them getting benefited from the national and international level policies, changes, or the case studies that exist in different scenarios. So I hope, thank you, and I hope that you must have understood the relevance of these theories, and obviously why do we need theory and what does theory do. So with the help of these theories, we can make sense of that the idea that, you know, when it comes to entrepreneurial venture, when it comes to entrepreneurial success, when it comes to entrepreneurial journeys, then what are the possible challenges, and what you know, what lies in the ecosystem, what are the different issues and different challenges in the ecosystem, and how can, with the help of theories, how can we make sense of those realities. And then when we will be able to make sense of the reality, then we'll be able to identify the issues, and we will be able to develop those strategies to counter those challenges and to, you know, resolve those issues. Thank you so much.